for Mike Lichniak, I'm Tamika Keenan-Norman.
I'm Jimmy Hoppa. You're watching WBOC News this morning. It's 6:30, Wednesday, March 27th.
Covering all of Delmarva, this is WBOC News This Morning. Delmarva's news leader.
Colossal collapse. 6 people still missing following the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse.
Shipping setbacks, why this bridge collapse could mean more traffic on the Chesapeake Bay Bridge.
And economic impacts, how this bridge collapse could affect Delmarva's economy.
We'll have all that and more coming up this half hour.
But first, the WBOC News This Morning eye-opener. It's your morning in 60 seconds. Crews continue to investigate a catastrophic bridge collapse in Baltimore.
There's going to be a long road.
With recovery efforts beginning later this morning.
This collapse likely impacting us here on Delmarva.
It's going to cause delay in goods. It's our hope if the Salisbury port can come in handy.
With trucks possibly being rerouted to the Chesapeake Bay Bridge and the Port of Salisbury taking on extra loads.
Members of the Cape and Lopin School District voted on a tax increase referendum Tuesday.
I voted for.
I'm voting absolutely no.
But it appears that initiative has failed. A World War II veteran received some recognition Tuesday.
You might be the reason I'm here today.
When the Air Mobility Command Museum held a ceremony honoring William Beaver.
Get back to school so you can learn more that will benefit you and benefit society.
This morning's eye-opener is sponsored by Bay to Beach Builders. Fine homes built with Amish craftsmanship.
Beaver. 6:31 on WBOC News this morning. Investigators still in the early stages of piecing together the events that led to the collapse of Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge.
Here's what we know so far. A little over 24 hours after the tragedy, Chopper 16 was over the scene throughout the day Tuesday. The U.S. Coast Guard announced it suspended its search Tuesday evening for 6 construction workers who were on the bridge when it collapsed, saying it doesn't think more survivors would be found. Officials say recovery efforts would begin later this morning. 2 survivors were pulled from the chilly waters of the Patapsco River early Tuesday morning. One of them has been released from the hospital. The executive vice president of Bronner Builders said the crew was working in the middle of the bridge's span when the crash happened and crumbled the bridge.
In terms of what happened, this is video showing the moment the massive container ship slammed into the support column of the bridge. The Dolly, that's D-A-L-I, the Dolly, had left Baltimore Harbor about 20 minutes before the crash on its way to Sri Lanka. The cargo ship lost power. After several failed attempts to fix the ship's loss of propulsion, the pilot issued a mayday, giving officials time to stop traffic on the bridge. Maryland Governor Wes Moore says that mayday enabled authorities to limit vehicle traffic on the span, and within about 90 seconds, police officers managed to stop traffic in both directions. Now, while investigators are working for answers, Governor Wes Moore says those heroes will be honored.
We are not just going to build the bridge back, but we're going to build it in a way that honors the people of this moment and honors the community that bridge will support.
President Biden said the federal government will, quote, move heaven and earth to reopen the port and pay for the rebuilding. The president also says he plans to travel to Baltimore as quickly as he can. The National Transportation Safety Board is leading the investigation. That includes examining any past safety problems with the ship. Several engineers say it does not appear the collapse was the result of infrastructure problems with the bridge. Now, traffic concerns may be the next crisis to be addressed by Maryland leaders, and we might see a lot more vehicles on the Chesapeake Bay Bridge due to that devastating loss in Baltimore. On average, around 31,000 cars passed over the Francis Scott Key Bridge every day. Now, trucking companies are saying this incident will cause some rerouting. While the Baltimore Harbor Tunnel would be a reroute for most, trucks that carry propane tanks or that are too tall or wide are not allowed in the tunnel, so they would reroute to the Chesapeake Bay Bridge if needed. Queen Anne's County Commissioner Jim Moran says the increase in traffic could be a concern.
So when you lose that, now there's businesses that are all at Curtis Bay, all the traffic that comes out of Curtis Bay that would normally get on there. Essex, you know, the old Bethlehem Steel site that's under construction, all these are going to be hugely impacted. And again, you know, we're hoping that it doesn't translate to anything here in Queen Anne's County and the 50 corridor, but we'll have to wait and see.
The Queen Anne's County Commission says they'll have a meeting on April 10th to discuss traffic and closing ramps. The collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge will be a part of that discussion.
The ripple effects of the collapse will likely spread to Delmarva's economy. Ships are not expected to be moving in or out of the Port of Baltimore for the foreseeable future. The executive director of the Salisbury Chamber of Commerce, Bill Chambers, says it could open the door for the Port of Salisbury. But there's a notable size difference between the two ports, and opening up this port to more business right now might be easier said than done.
From restaurants to freight carriers, all depending on the ship traffic in and out of the port, are going to be impacted by a temporary shutdown due to this tragedy.
Delmarva's automotive industry in particular could take a big hit. The Port of Baltimore is the only port in the U.S. importing Mercedes-Benz.
Delmarva's agricultural industry could be taking a hit as well. The Port of Baltimore is the largest port by volume for handling farm machinery as well as agricultural products. A Mount Air Farm spokesperson told WBOC it uses Baltimore's port for exports and it will be impacted. The company saying in part, quote, "Our teams will be working hard to assess our options and make decisions on how to move product around the globe."
However, Virginia's Governor Youngkin is offering a helping hand to Maryland. Governor Glenn Youngkin says the Port of Virginia in Norfolk is prepared and able to take in more ships while the Port of Baltimore is closed. As a matter of fact, he says one's already being rerouted.
We have our first ocean carrier that was supposed to be heading to Baltimore, making a stop in Virginia and unloading all of their Baltimore cargo here. We've got capacity to do it, and I think that's really important.
Not clear how long the Port of Baltimore is going to be closed, but Baltimore ranks as the 9th largest U.S. port for international cargo.
Of course, there will be much more to come about the Baltimore bridge collapse in the days and months ahead. As always, you can turn to the WBOC News app or our website for the very latest on this developing story.
All right, other news this morning. Efforts on a tax increase that would have helped a Cape Henlopen district expansion have failed.
Voters headed to the polls Tuesday to vote on a referendum that would have generated nearly $80 million through a proposed tax increase. And while official numbers have not been released, the school district superintendent issued a statement Tuesday night expressing disappointment in the result. The school district says this initiative was needed because enrollment has grown by over 2,400 students in the past 20 years.
Superintendent Bob Fulton says they will look at options and determine the next steps for the Cape Henlopen School District.
The city of Salisbury is trying to build a new hotel and conference center, but they may have hit a roadblock. $4 million in state grants is available to the city to build at Lot 10 downtown. But after some public pushback, the city council discussed the idea of allocating any remaining funds elsewhere. The developer says any reallocation of the grant funds puts the entire project at risk, since both Governors Hogan and then Moore approved the money specifically for Lot 10. Officials say the city is now working through the contract between the city and the developer, which could be ready by April 8th.
It is 6:38. A portion of a well-traveled road in Sussex County closed Tuesday after seawater spilled over the dunes. Take a look at this. Traffic cameras showing crews out trying to mitigate the flooding on northbound Route 1. This is near Bethany Beach about 10:30 Tuesday morning. One lane of traffic reopened around 3 Tuesday afternoon. And we're going to be checking in with meteorologist Mike Lichniak in just a moment, find out if that Sussex County community can expect the same thing today.
A World War II veteran was honored in Dover.
Yes, he was. Ceremony was held at the Air Mobility Command Museum on Tuesday to recognize William Bieber for his service in the Army Air Corps. Governor John Carney also signed a proclamation from the Delaware Veterans Commission praising the veteran. Mr. Bieber acted as a ball turret gunner during the war, sitting in a small little compartment underneath military planes and shooting weapons at the enemy. He is now 98 years old. His grandson Mason says he's glad to see his grandfather receive the recognition he deserves.
You know, to be hanging off the bottom of the plane, shooting at people that are trying to shoot you, seems almost unimaginable. And he still is pretty fearless. He hasn't lost that.
Post-war, Mr. Bieber spent many years as a school teacher and still champions the power of learning. Thank you for your service, Mr. Bieber.
It's amazing. 6:39 on WBOC News this morning, live looking to Rehoboth Beach from our Boardwalk Plaza hotel camera.
So, Mike, I was out of town this past weekend. There's pollen all over my car. I was going to take it to the car wash, but Mother Nature can handle that, right, over the next few days.
Welcome to the way Jimmy and I wash our vehicles. Just put some soap out there right before the rain starts. Then you get the wash cycle and the rinse cycle all at once. You don't have to worry about it. It's fantastic. We will start to deal with some scattered showers as we work through the afternoon hours today with the steadier rain coming in tonight, friends. But as you step outside, you try to get the dogs outside, they're like, and you're like, and you're like, And it's because it's misting and it's drizzling, and I get it. It's not the prettiest of mornings out the door. It is on the comfortable side, though, in the 40s. There's a bit of a chill to the air because of all the extra moisture, and it's leading to fog and drizzle and dampness across the region. Wind right now in off the Atlantic still, but not as strong as it has been at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. A lot of cloud cover this morning across the area. You can see the moisture feed beginning to pick up. It's a pretty good one that's going to develop off the Gulf of Mexico ahead of this cold front. That cold front that sits out to our west, it's going to take its sweet old time getting here. Doesn't move across the area until we get to late tomorrow night, which means we're stuck with this. Clouds, drizzle, fog, mist through the morning hours. Then we get to the afternoon when our chances for some scattered showers go up. As we get to tonight, that's when the steadier rain begins to push across Delmarva. Live look from our camera at the Art League of Ocean City. Thanks to our friends at Tyndall's Casual Furniture, showing you a dreary start to our day. And EmojiCast just gets more and more unhappy with me through time as shower chances go up by later this afternoon. Rain overspreads the area tonight and into tomorrow morning. Some of this rain during the day on Thursday is going to be moderate to heavy at times. And that continues through the afternoon into the evening hours, and it tapers off as we head into tomorrow night. If we could get Major League Baseball to push the opening day first pitch in Baltimore and Philadelphia to 7:05, I think we can get the games in. Rain doesn't stop here, but it's going to stop in Baltimore. It's going to stop in Philadelphia before the rain stops here, where we pick up on 1 to 2, maybe as much as 3 inches of rain by the time it wraps up Thursday night heading into Friday morning. It's a lot of rain. I expect flood watches to be issued across Delmarva because, again, ground just can't handle all the rain that we have seen over the last several weeks. Nice day on the way for Friday. It'll be windy, though, with temperatures in the 50s, 60s as we get towards Easter Sunday. Shower chances Saturday. I think we're dry for Easter Sunday. Not pretty sunny, but at least dry.
I think Tamika's all excited about opening day.
Really?
Yeah, yay. Yay.
I can tell.
No, wait, your son plays ball.
He does.
Yeah.
He does play. So, yes, I'm excited.
Okay, all right.
Had to change it. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Right.
Mike. In this morning's Top Talkers, conflict continues. What has the United States and Israel butting heads these days?
Plus, price cap increases, why you'll need a little more than 5 quarters to shop at the dollar store soon. That's next on WBOC News this morning at 6:43.
At 6:45 on WBOC News this morning, some of the most talked about stories in this morning's Top Talkers. Tensions are rising between the U.S. and Israel because the U.S. wants a ceasefire to protect civilians in Gaza. The Israeli defense minister is taking that message home after visiting Washington this week. A U.S. official says his agenda included a meeting with the CIA director Bill Burns last night. Burns is leading the U.S. push for a pause in fighting. Another sign of the rift is that the U.S. is now backing a UN ceasefire resolution vote. The majority of Supreme Court justices appeared skeptical Tuesday of a nationwide ban on mifepristone. That's the primary drug used in the U.S. for medication abortions. Last year, a Texas district court judge ruled the FDA was wrong to approve mifepristone in 2000. A final decision from the High Court is expected in July. The Federal Trade Commission is now taking a closer look at TikTok. 2 sources say the agency is launching a probe into the social media platform. It's for an alleged violation of the Children's Online Privacy Protection Rule. Officials are also investigating a potential violation of the FTC Act, which prohibits deceptive acts that affect commerce. This comes as there's a growing congressional push to possibly ban TikTok in the U.S. And Dollar Tree is raising the maximum price on store items from $5 to $7. CEO Rick Dreiling shared the change in an earnings call earlier this month. He said the price increase is due to a wealthier customer base. Dreiling says the retailer's fastest growing demographic, people who earn at least $125,000 a year. 3 years ago, the company raised the base price of items to $1.25.
$125,000?
Yes.
I think they just priced me right out of the market right there.
Me too.
So a dreary and wet next few days. Taking a live look into Laurel from our Tyndall's Casual Furniture camera. After the break, Mike's going to show you how much rain falls by Friday morning. It's 6:47 on WBOC News this morning.
If you're struggling trying to get out of bed this morning, you're not the only one, as it is a misty, a dreary, a drab morning across the area. A lot of cloud cover, temperatures right now sitting in the 40s. As we work through time, we're optimistic that we'll climb up into the low 50s, maybe some mid 50s in places, but that comes with shower chances later on today. So through the first half of the day, it's cloudy, it's misty, it's drizzly, it doesn't look great. And then it just gets worse because then the rain starts to arrive. It'll be on and off scattered showers this afternoon through the evening hours, and then it becomes more steady as we head into tonight and into your Thursday. Moderate to heavy rain throughout Thursday into Thursday evening will dry things out as we head into Thursday night and early on Friday. By the time it all ends, we're talking 1 to 2 inches of rain. That's a good bet. Locally heavier amounts, especially the farther east and the farther south you go across the peninsula. We're dry Friday with a bit of a wind with more showers by Saturday. It's 6:51 on WBOC News this morning.
It is 6:54 on WBOC News this morning.
Here's a quick look at today's top stories. Investigators still piecing together the events leading to the collapse of Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge. U.S. Coast Guard suspended its search for 6 people missing Tuesday evening. Officials say recovery efforts begin today.
We might see more vehicles on the Chesapeake Bay Bridge due to that devastating loss in Baltimore. Trucking companies say this incident will cause some rerouting to the Bay Bridge, but local leaders fear that could cause problems here.
Efforts on a tax increase that would have helped the Cape Henlopen district have failed. While official numbers have not been released, the district superintendent issued a statement expressing disappointment in the result.
And a ceremony was held in Dover Tuesday to recognize William Bieber for his service in the Army Air Corps during World War II. Governor John Carney also signed a proclamation from the Delaware Veterans Commission praising the veterans. And that's a look at this morning's top stories for a Wednesday.
Taking a live look into Easton from our camera, sponsored by Hertz Automotive. After the break, Mike's planning out your Wednesday for you at 6:55 on WBOC News this morning.
You're watching WBOC News this morning. We've got a dreary start to our day today.
It's just misty, a little fog in places. Not the greatest start out the door, but it is warm for this time of year. We should be in the upper 30s. We are in the low 40s right now. Live look this morning into our camera at the Art League of Ocean City, sponsored by Tyndall's Casual Furniture, as we have temperatures in the 40s right now. By later on today, we'll see temperatures into the 50s for many of us. The shower chances start to go up later this afternoon. They'll be on and off today. Once we get to tonight, that's when the steady rain gets here, and as we work throughout the day on Thursday, moderate to heavy rain throughout the course of your Thursday. 1 to 2 inches of rain, a good bet. There's going to be locally heavier amounts, especially closer to the beach. The farther south you live, we're dry Friday, before a few more showers sneak into the forecast on Saturday.
Keeping us on our toes, aren't you?
Oh, yeah.
Another look at your local news with Tamika, weather with Mike in about 30 minutes. Live looking at the CBS Morning Studio right now. This is New York City getting ready to bring you Tony DeCopel in Baltimore with team coverage of yesterday's bridge collapse. They'll be talking with the FBI's dive team leader who's heading the underwater search effort.
And don't forget, for weather, news, sports, anytime, you can get it now on WBOC.com. Have a great day.
Stay dry. Mike.